Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Autism and Doctor Who series. Today I'm joined with Ryan, and today we come dressed up for the occasion. We got Ryan as the 10th Doctor, and I've come as the Master. Well, thanks Ryan for coming back.
Not a problem. I enjoyed the last one so much I decided to come back again. So
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm Ryan and I cosplay the 10th Doctor, and I like the 10th Doctor.
Yeah, I would have thought so. I didn't think you liked him.
Well, maybe a little bit, just a little bit.
Just a tiny bit.
A wee bit.
So what got you into like cosplaying him, like the 10th Doctor?
Well, all right. So when back in the day, so there's a huge gap where America didn't see Doctor Who. So we had the 4th Doctor, and then we didn't get another one until Christopher Eccleston. And so I honestly thought after the 4th Doctor, I thought he was the Doctor because he was the only one I ever saw. I didn't know there were other Doctors. But anyway, so after Christopher Eccleston left and David Tennant came, I was in the cosplay scene. I was going to Dragon Con and stuff like this. And my close friends who did watch Doctor Who kept saying, you really need to get back into Doctor Who. You'll love the 10th Doctor. You act like him, because I've always been the type, I cannot cosplay a character I don't have anything in common with. I can't. I have to feel akin to that person. And I kept putting it off because, as we've discussed in the past, the Whovian fan base can be very toxic and very judgy, and I didn't want to get into that. So I avoided it for a very long time. And then Good Omens came out. Yeah, see, that's how I'm old and new. So Good Omens came out, and I'd known David Tennant from other things, and I was watching that, and I was like, well, I really want to get this accent. So I'll watch David Tennant's run on Doctor Who. It'll be fine. And then as I was watching it with some of my friends, I was like, oh no, they were right. I have to cosplay this Doctor. And that's sort of kind of what happened. And I was like, oh, come on, he wears Converse. I love wearing Converse. They were my signature shoe all through high school. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got into it.
Yeah, and like, is it like it's good that you say that you want to like do a person that you kind of relate to a little bit as well, like personality as well. So like maybe like the mannerisms and stuff like that.
And the eyebrow. I have the eyebrow and I have the freckles, so it was meant to be.
Yeah, meant to be. Yeah. But yeah, like it took, like, for me it took a while to notice he was Scottish. When I watched it.
Well, and the thing was is I never really thought about it, but then certain words he says definitely come out Scottish. Like when he says failure, that is indefinitely Scottish right there. Because one thing is I have a hard time doing an English accent because growing up in the South, much like the Scottish accent, we have very strong R's. We sound the letters out, and so forth and so on. And so it was easier for me to do that than try to do an English accent, because I can't lightly tap letters. It's not in my blood to do so. So, but yeah, you can definitely hear certain words he says. You're like, oh, that's Scottish right there. So
yeah, it's like, especially how he had an episode in Doctor Who where he could speak Scottish for a little bit as well. That I forgot what episode it was. It was a wolf episode, like with the werewolf one, where I thought at last I can speak Scottish.
Right, exactly. And that's how I felt. I was like, oh look, they let him be Scottish.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty funny, because I was like, I bet he was just like, oh. I don't think that was fair though, because Peter Capaldi got to use his regular accent. But then again, who's going to argue with Peter Capaldi and say, hey, you can't do that accent? Nobody is going to argue with Peter Capaldi.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was interesting that they said to David, you put like a British English accent on rather than using your Scottish.
oh, I know. I'm sure. I mean, he does it well, but like I said, you can still hear the Scottish coming out every once in a while.
Yeah, yeah. It's very interesting.
Hmm.
How he how he puts it on, because it's almost like that is his actual voice.
Yeah, to an extent, I mean, for the most part, I guess. Well, I don't know, maybe it has something to do because where he was born specifically, because I know that there's some accent that falls in between Scottish and English, and if you go with that way, you can kind of, I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, so that could be why he can do both so easily.
Yeah, and he is also a good villain, isn't he? Like in other things he's been in.
Yeah, I will tell you one thing. As much as I love him, he should never try an American accent. He's done it and it's awful. Bad Samaritan. Sorry, it was terrible. I don't know if you saw that movie, but I'm telling this to everyone who's listening. If you're from the UK, do a Southern accent because it is much closer to your natural accent. Do not try to do Bostonian or the North because it's, oh gosh, it's horrible. It's too hard to do, and it's obvious that it's too hard to do.
Yeah, yeah. Like I do feel like everything. Well, most of what David Tennant is in is pretty cool. Like you got Good Omens, you've got like Doctor Who, you've got
Harry Potter.
you've got Harry Potter, you've got Marvel, Jessica Jones.
Yeah, still never gonna. Well, actually, I have a friend who's been having a lot of issues, and she loves Jessica Jones. And she asked if I would ever do TikTok with her as Kilgrave, and I had already said I do not ever want to do Kilgrave because I don't like seeing David in that light. I don't like seeing him as that kind of creepy bad guy, but not the fun kind of creepy, like the ew, that's you go over there creepy. But so I decided, however, that for her, because she's been having a hard time, I will do a couple of sounds. I just haven't put the suit together yet because a purple suit is very expensive. So I'm probably going to do a black suit with like purple accents because that's going to be a lot more cost effective.
Yes, like if you ever did maybe the 11th Doctor, like he has I think a purple suit, but yeah, all these clothes are very hard to get hold of, aren't they?
Speaking of suits, what is up with this one in the 60th anniversary? That suit, at first you think it's his brown suit, but then someone sent me a picture close up and it's not. It's some sort of blue and black and red plaidish monstrosity. And then that gray tie, I was like, oh no, I don't want to have to buy another suit.
Yeah, and like I thought that at first as well, and then you look again and it's completely different. So it's very interesting to see who he plays as well.
Yes, will he be the Doctor or will he be the Metacrisis Doctor?
Yeah, it does make sense if he was the Metacrisis Doctor because they deleted a scene, didn't they? From the back, they were going to give the Metacrisis Doctor to grow his own TARDIS.
Well, and the Metacrisis Doctor was going to be the villain. He was going to be a villain to the Doctor.
What was he?
Yeah, he was. That was the original plan, that he was going to end up being a villain, but they just did. I guess whatever time ran. I don't know. They just ended up not doing it. But I mean, they still could. But the only thing is Metacrisis Doctor is still technically human, so you'd have to kind of. I mean, it would explain why he aged, though, if David is playing the Metacrisis Doctor.
Yeah. That's the great thing about having that part, that he can age.
Yeah, definitely. Because I'm kind of curious how they're bringing him back for this one. And Donna, see, the Donna thing is what confuses me the most. Because he had said basically that she could never ever even see him. Now I'm sure she could see his future regenerations because she wouldn't recognize him, but him specifically she wasn't supposed to ever see, or it was going to be, all that stuff was going to come flooding back.
Yeah, and there was actually an alternative ending that they was going to do for Journey's End as well, and that was going to be that, like, when he threw in his TARDIS away, so said goodbye to Wilfred, that Donna actually recognised the TARDIS Wheaty sound, and that's another theory. But I'm curious, like possibly this may be an alternative universe where they actually that the Doctor doesn't regenerate, he just carries on travels with Donna.
Yep.
Possibly.
Possibly. I wonder, I don't know. I just, it's crazy. I'm stuck. I'm like, well, how are they gonna do this? It's just, I've seen the pictures and I'm excited about it, but at the same time, I'm still like, so how exactly did they pull that off?
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see. Like,
I do love that Wilfred is back. I love Wilfred so much.
Yeah, Wilfred was best.
The best granddad ever.
Yeah, he's. Yeah.
You wouldn't. Okay, so I don't remember if we talked about this the first time we spoke before we did the podcast, but technically, the Metacrisis Doctor is the offspring genetically of the Doctor and Donna. So technically, that's the Doctor's son.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's, so they had a kid together and they were just best friends.
Yeah. And didn't have to do much to make that.
No, it was very little mess,
Yeah, and like regeneration into the hand, a touch. That's what it took. All it takes.
Yeah. That was so. I thought that was funny, but yeah, and I like this that people say that technically when Donna had all the Doctor memories, technically for a little period of time, the Doctor was a ginger because she was the Dr. Donna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, technically the Doctor was ginger a little bit anyway, wasn't he?
Well, David has a little red to his hair, just a tiny little bit of red to his natural hair, but he dyes it now, but in like his younger stuff, you can see just, I guess, a sun-kissed red, like when the sun shines, you've been out in the sun too long and it starts to lighten your hair. But yeah, I made a joke. I said, well, maybe because, you've got Crowley, who's 6,000 years old, and the Doctor can kind of turn himself into someone he's seen before. That's why he's so angry, because Crowley had that ginger hair and he can't get that ginger hair.
It's quite crazy, but like it's very interesting because I think but I can see these episodes or whatever they're going to be. I can see them going into the past and future. It'd be nice to start from her losing her memories and then expand on what happened afterwards, not just skip to the future. But from what I know, I think the Doctor and Donna bump into each other somewhere, but it's there's a lot of questions.
Well, I found out I've been reading articles and stuff. Freema might come back.
Yeah, I heard about
and
that.
I got excited about that because Martha is my absolute favorite companion. I mean, well, of New Who. Sarah Jane, that's, my heart belongs to Sarah Jane, and Romana, but when it comes to New Who, it was definitely Martha Jones.
Why Martha Jones?
Like people talk about how they don't like that she'd fallen in love with the Doctor, and the whole thing is you can't help who you fall in love with. You just fall in love with that person. And I have been in situations where I was in love with a guy and he looked right through me. He never realized it, and I was too scared of the rejection that I never said anything. Now, the thing with Martha was the Doctor was still pining over Rose when she came into the picture. Had it been later, there probably, there may have been something that could have happened. But I liked how Martha chose to walk away. Like, she didn't stick around and allow herself to be hurt any longer. she made the decision of, look, there's nothing that's ever going to happen from this. And if I stick around, I'm just going to, you know, emotionally ruin myself. So I have to walk away. And I think that that speaks volumes, because a lot of us will be in bad relationships, or we will follow that try to find the end of that rainbow, but there's no pot of gold there. And we eventually have to realize that we have to walk away.
Yeah. I think that was good what Martha done there. Like she walks away, and not many companions do that, especially in New Who.
I think was it Tegan? One of the others from the classic walked away, but I forget who it was.
It
I
might
can't
have been
remember
Tegan.
It might have been Tegan.
Yeah. But like you have Rose who stays there, even Donna, like that was a way out for her and the Doctor just to save her and stuff. But I think maybe it works out where Wilfred possibly feels something out that remembers, makes Donna remember, because she only passed out in the end of time, didn't she? She like when she was remembering Doctor Who, the Doctor, she didn't.
Yeah, while she was unconscious, and the doctor brought her back. They put her in the bed, and then I think he was downstairs or something, and he was explaining to Wilfred that she can't see me. If she sees me, it won't end well, and all that kind of stuff. Like, he explained it that, yeah, this is it. So I'm sorry. And that was really tragic. I think Donna's was the most tragic, because it was, to me, how do I say this? Unlike Rose and the Doctor being romantic, Donna and the Doctor were platonically in love with each other. Like, he got excited when he saw her, she got excited when she saw him, but there was no romance there. And to me, as someone who, lost their best friend not too long ago, I think that a friendship can be so much more intimate than even that than a romantic one, because there are things that you will tell your best friend that you would never tell your significant other. Yeah. And so there's a closeness there that you can't have with a significant other. So I think that they were the perfect match platonically. I never would have wanted them to get together, because their personalities were too different and too much the same.
Yeah, that they were never going to work. But I know what you mean. Like in Doctor Who, I always prefer if they're like really good friends than like in love. But I know they can't help that, but like Donna is probably one of my favourite companions, as well as David being my favourite Doctor. So I like them, and I do feel that's the most sad ending. Like, it felt like she was dying in a way, even though she didn't. It felt like that.
Well, and the other thing is that he will always know where she is at any given moment. So it's not like Rose, where he has to burn up a sun just to visit her. He can visit Donna anytime he wants, but he can't visit Donna anytime he wants.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Even a future incarnation could. Because Donna's not going to know who that is.
Right. We're getting together with Katie whenever I go to Chicago again, because my friend Audra actually cosplays Donna, and we were going to do a photo shoot of like Donna, and then you have like the 13th Doctor just kind of watching her, just because I always said that I think that even though they parted ways, I think the Doctor always sort of pushed probability in Donna's favor after that, made things kind of happen to just, say he still cared without actually being there to say it.
Yeah, it's something that I'm very excited though. It's very exciting to see her back. And I think it'd be a laugh with the 13th Doctor if that was to happen in real life.
Oh yeah. I'm sad that Christopher won't come back, but at the same time I can understand, he just, I don't know. He made a life outside of Doctor Who, where even though like David Tennant and Matt Smith have a life outside of Doctor Who, that's the first thing people think of when you mention them. With Christopher Eccleston, you have like G.I. Joe, and you have all these other various movies that he was in the past and that he's still in. So it's
Christopher Eccleston is a really good, but he was in an autism series as well. So he's done stuff with autism. So he's done really good for himself, Christopher Eccleston. And I think he's recording at the moment with Daisy Ridley from Star Wars in some sort of film. So he's doing well for himself, and like when we spoke about before, like ADHD and autism, that relating to hobbies. Like Doctor Who is. Don't you think Doctor Who plays a massive part in that?
Well, yeah, definitely. And I think that the doctors, well, not all of them, but I think some of the doctors sort of exhibit like not symptoms, but the patterns of certain things. For example, I've heard that the 10th Doctor, he's what somebody called him like the ADHD poster child, because he'll be thinking of something, completely forget it, and go off into some other tangent. And then someone said that the 11th, the way he is, just the way he is, he shows kind of like more of an autistic pattern of certain things that he does and says, and like the whole food thing with the fish fingers and custard, and he didn't
like textures and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Where the 10th Doctor, his only rule is no pears. Outside of that, I think he would eat just about anything. So
yeah, the pears thing was an ongoing pattern, and it was
that all the way from the 4th Doctor, because the 4th Doctor didn't like pears.
Yeah,
so I don't like pears either, so it's okay.
Are you only saying that because David didn't like him?
No. The two things I cannot stand is watermelon, because my mom craved that when she was pregnant with me, and I can't stand watermelon. And I do not like pears. I don't like I don't know. It's like an apple that's lying to you. And I don't like the texture. I don't like the shape. I don't like the taste. It's just I do not like pears. They're just I never have.
Yeah. I don't mind pears, but I don't have them often. My favourite fruit are probably grapes. I do like grapes. I like strawberries, but yeah, like with the 11th Doctor, for example, he didn't like yogurt. He spat out in beans. He didn't like beans either. So
which is an atrocity, because beans are amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I wonder if the actual actor. I wonder if they asked him, "Tell me things that you don't like," and then we'll make you have them, and then I got to spit them out because they actually don't like them. But that would have been cool. Other than telling him maybe he actually likes yogurts and beans in real life, so he has to spit out when he actually likes it.
Yeah, it could be like, I mean, again, a lot of times it's mostly texture than it is flavor.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't like what is that? Cottage cheese. Oh, sorry. Cottage cheese is gross.
Have you tried fish fingers and custard?
Actually, I have a Doctor Who cookbook that tells you how to make it's like a custard, but it's more of like a dipping sauce that looks like custard for your fish fingers. I do like fish fingers, though. I really do like fish fingers. I've never tried them in custard, though. I do like the whole sweet and salty combination. So I'm willing to try it just to say, hey, look, I tried it. But I just I don't have custard.
I've never tried it. But I would like to. I don't know. I don't think he actually had. I think he might have had coconut paste or something like that. I think he did Dan custard, but I still would want to try custard just to see what it's like.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? And custard is not as easy to find in America as it is in other places, because we are predominantly pudding. So you kind of have to make custard in order to have it, or you can get frozen custard, which is more of like a milkshake, so that doesn't really count either.
No.
Well, I wonder if it would be like when you dip your chips in a milkshake, that kind of thing, because the chips are salty and the milkshake is sweet. Yeah. It might taste a little fishier, but who knows?
Yeah, or like you could picture it maybe having chips with curry sauce, maybe, even though that they work, but just picture it like that.
Yeah, maybe. I know here we are going, huh?
Yeah.
Now we may end up having to try this.
Yeah. But it would have been nice for, like, since then the doctor doesn't really eating. You don't really see the doctor eat other than that, really.
Tin you see eat a lot. He's always sticking his finger in a marmalade jar, or
Yeah, he was,
he's
yeah.
he was the eater. He always, and so that's, I kind of make jokes in some of my videos of eating something just because he was always eating something.
Yeah, have
But
marmalade, didn't he?
yeah, I think it was marmalade, but I'm okay with marmalade. I prefer lemon. Oh, what is it called? Curd, lemon curd. I love lemon curd.
He put so, like, when they opened that Cyberman up, he put his finger in it and he was licking it, I think.
Yeah,
um
probably.
so he did like eating. Like he was almost like the mystery solver, wasn't he? He would use his
Yeah.
senses to find out stuff.
Yeah, and I'd make jokes about that because when the pandemic started and they were like, oh, don't lick things, and I'm like, but I'm going to be cosplaying the 10th Doctor and you're telling me not to lick things, you know? That's my whole thing. I actually did lick the Dalek this past weekend.
You lit the Dalek.
I licked the Dalek because the person who was with me, Tiger, he was dressed as the 11th Doctor and he goes, you're not going to do it. And I was like, watch me. And I did.
Yeah. And what? So what was it? Was it an open Dalek, or was it? Did you get locked in?
No, it was it wasn't, it doesn't have a lock on it, so you can open it and close it, but it was closed at the time, and it belongs to Tiger, the 11th Doctor, who was playing the 11th Doctor. And so when he was in there, I was like, I'm gonna lick the Dalek, and he's like, no, you're not. And I was like, yeah. So I did, and he was just kind of like, I can't believe you just did that. And I was like, I can.
Yeah.
I don't care, you know. So I have a massively strong immune system, so I'm like, whatever. A little dirt won't kill you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when we were kids.
Yeah. So yeah, I think maybe the 13th Doctor might be like that as well. I'm not sure. Like she gives me Matt Smith vibes though, a little bit.
Oh, the 13th.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and that's what I thought too. She's a little more Matt Smith-ish. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then we'll find out how the 14th is, and everybody's like, here's my thought is I would rather be, you know, on the fence when it comes to the 14th and then be impressed than get super uber excited about the 14th and be like, oh, really? You
Yeah.
know? So I would rather be open-minded and see it for myself than make prejudgments either way, because, you know, I don't want to.
Yeah. Like I've watched him from like that Netflix program he was in, but you can't really say anything what he's gonna be like as a doctor, because you can't do that, because you had Jodie Whittaker. But before Jodie was a doctor, I watched a series she was in called Trust Me, that like and I watched that, and she's completely different in Doctor Who. Like so you can't really judge it if she's in another show or the actor's in another show beforehand. Like you say, just wait and see what they're like.
Exactly, and that's really what you have to do, because you know, unfortunately, I mean, it's like there are a lot of people that say that they don't like, for example, Colin Baker, and I always ask them, so did you go in not liking Colin Baker, or did you watch the show and then make the decision that you didn't like Colin Baker?
Yeah.
And a lot of them will say, well, when I saw that coat and I saw what he looked like, and I'm like, no, that's not how you go into it. You watch it, and I mean, like, I'm not a huge fan of the first and second Doctor. It's nothing personal. It's just, it wasn't my vibe, I guess. It just wasn't my thing. I like it once it got into the third Doctor, because the first two Doctors were very serious to an extent. And I like shows to have a little bit of silliness. And once we got the third Doctor, you started to see a progression of, you know, silly moments, or, you know, sarcasm and stuff like that. And that's what I really, really dug So yeah, I need that.
Yeah, I think every doctor needs a bit of laughter.
Yeah.
Like, like it's also it should don't have to be too serious. Like you have to have a bit of jokes now and then.
And not too silly. I think you need a good balance. So I'm hoping that Shooty, I think is his name, can give that balance that the others, you know, a good portion of them. Like, I mean, you had Christopher. Christopher was pretty much the straight man. He wasn't super silly, but he did still have his moments. And I could appreciate that. So
Yeah.
you don't need them silly all the time, but you need to have a balance.
Yeah, I like I liked when he had those serious moments as well because even though they were really serious, they were quite funny.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like him dancing to Tainted Love. I still love that. That was so great. Because it was
Yeah.
unexpected too, because he did play the doctor, no matter what came out of his mouth, he played the doctor so serious, but that was what made it funny, was the fact that he was so dry when he would say those things. You know, and then you fell in love with him, and then, you know, he like I said, he did everything in his power to keep Rose calm while he was dying, which to me, that's amazing. Where Tin had a mad fit, literally a temper tantrum when he was turning or regenerating, you know, and so it showed the difference between the two, where if anyone ever tells you that Tin was not selfish, they're lying. They've never watched the show. Tin
Yes.
was probably one of the most selfish doctors in the series.
Yeah.
It was his needs. I mean, he cared about Rose. He did what he had to do for Rose. He did what he had to do for Donna. He could have his, even the most selfish person can have moments of compassion.
Yeah.
But he acted like he was super offended when Martha left. Like he couldn't understand that this was his fault, that he hurt Martha. You know, like he didn't talk about the elephant in the room. He just kind of let her have feelings for him, instead of just coming clean and saying, hey, had a bad relationship, nothing, it's not your fault. Instead, he let her keep pining over him. You know, so he was definitely the most selfish. And I guess that's kind of why I sort of like him too, because I can be a pretty selfish person myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can be very selfish, but yeah, he was definitely the most selfish. And I don't know who the most, I guess, giving would have been, the most selfless one, unless it was Nine. Nine was pretty selfless.
Yeah. Like I agree with 10. He was pretty selfish. Um, especially towards the end. He was very selfish. Especially with like Wilfred and like kind of blaming Wilfred in a way. You know, you know, but when he was exiting, he was blaming him. It felt like he was blaming him for him absorbing all the energy. Um, so it was it, that was sad because I like Wilfred, and I think Wilfred felt bad. Like
Well, but I also think because he was so selfish, and I'm not taking it from him, but in a way, I think he was sort of like a wounded animal at that point too. Like he just was lashing out at anyone and anything. He was so upset. But it's like what I had said, where Nine was an adult, 10 was a teenager, because he was so moody all the time. His mood could change on a dime, and he was extremely selfish, much like teenagers are. And 11 was the child. Like he looked at things through a new set of eyes. Like everything was fascinating to him and everything was interesting. Where 10 was very much, look what I can do. Let me show you this. I'm going to take you here. And he was a very big show off.
yeah, and he would go all of it. And I think what really aggravated Martha, I think, was he was taking him. He was taking him after all the places that he took Rose.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And that, you know, and again, I mean, I've actually been on both sides of that. I've been in the 10th Doctor's shoes, where someone had affections for me and I didn't want to confront it and tell them, hey, I'm not into you. So we just didn't talk about it. And, you know, And then I've been on the other side where it was like, well, I really like this person. I wish they would tell me if I've got a chance or not.
I think that one of the reasons he didn't want to say that was, one, that he probably didn't want to hurt her feelings, and two, that he didn't want to be alone.
And I understand that. However, would it have not been kinder to let her know at the beginning? And then if she decided to continue, then so be it. But instead, he made her kind of feel like she was sort of being led on.
Yeah, like from that first moment when they kissed, like in the first episode with the Jadoon one.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. he kind of, I guess, I don't know, yeah, the kiss that definitely kind of initiated it.
Yeah, and like the 10th Doctor said, it was nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Oh, I know. And he acted like it wasn't a big deal. And we don't know what Martha dealt with prior to that, with like prior relationships or anything that clearly meant more to her than it meant to him.
Yeah, and there was moments that I suppose he could have done differently, but I felt the reason why he possibly is back now is because he couldn't accept that he had to go, could he? He couldn't accept that with Christopher Eccleston's Doctor. Ninth Doctor could. I feel like Matt did as well, but he couldn't, and he didn't want to go. Maybe he's back for that pure reason, that just so he can go, he can say, "It's my time to go now."
Sort of like when they say that, like, ghosts with their unfinished business type thing, like he has a few loose ends to. Well, and again, we don't know if this is him or if this is alternate him. We don't know.
No.
So
it's very interesting. I would like it to be him.
Oh yes, I would love for it to be him, but I don't know. And also I don't know who else is coming, because like there was a rumor that someone saw Peter Capaldi talking to one of some, I can never remember people's names, but one of the big people that has something to do with the show, Rachel something or another.
Oh yeah, Talalay, I think her name.
I don't know, but yeah. So there's rumors that I would love to see 10 and 12.
Yeah.
Because they're so different, and they're both rude, but they're different at the same time. Both of them just riddled with sarcasm, and I love that. And I think that's why, like, I like Matt, but I found that 11 wore on my nerves. I think he was a little too much sometimes, and I was just kind of like, why are you doing this? Okay, calm down, take an Adderall and sit over there. You're gonna be okay.
Yeah. I like, after Matt left, so I wasn't so keen on Peter Capaldi's Doctor, but I suppose it took me longer to kind of get used to him and everything, other than other Doctors, but I feel like everyone who's played the Doctor has been good. In their own way.
Right. And I think, honestly, as silly as it sounds, if anyone deserved to play the Doctor most, it was Peter. Because Peter was such a hardcore Doctor Who fan. So if anyone, and I know that David and Matt and all of them enjoyed it as well, but Peter was like the president of like the fan club or something. I mean, like, he went above and beyond. And to me, he deserved it so much more because he wanted it that much more.
Yeah, it was his dream, wasn't it, to be the Doctor?
And he got to do it, and it was great. I mean, I enjoyed him. And I will say that I don't like the hate that Clara gets. I like Clara. Yeah. I really like her. She's adorable, by the way. She's so freaking cute. You're just like, every time I see Clara, I'm just like, oh, there's Clara. I don't know what it is about her, but she's just adorable.
Yeah. I did like Clara. like it was nice to see that difference from her having to go on from a completely different person that she fancied the Doctor beforehand, and then she didn't now.
Yeah, I wasn't, and this is gonna get me shot, but I was not a big Amy Pond fan.
You're not a big Amy Pond fan?
I was not a big Amy Pond fan, and like I said before, Rory was Mickey with more background story and more development, but at the same time, Rory was very much in the beginning very much another Mickey.
Yeah, yeah, because like the thing about Mickey is like it's the Doctor is there and like a stranger really to this Rose character, that like Rose doesn't know about much about the Doctor. In that first episode, Rose basically saved it all, not the Doctor really. And she goes to with a Doctor who don't know much about them, and then as soon as he says that I've travelled in time, she goes off, and the Doctor says Mickey's not coming, he's not coming. And it was like at that particular time it was bizarre, like how she would just go like that
and right off Mickey. Yep. And that was the thing that irritated me too. That was probably honestly the most unrealistic part of that dynamic. Was if I were in Mickey's shoes, even though you can't control someone else, I would be like, hey, out of respect of me, I don't like you going off with this tall, handsome stranger to God knows where, doing God knows what. And for Rose, she should have been a little more compassionate towards Mickey, which tells me I think to Rose, Mickey was just a placeholder. He was not going to be the husband material. He was not going to be he wasn't going to be there for the long haul. He was there until she found something better. And this is going to be horrible, but like mother, like daughter. So I think there were things that Rose had in common with Jackie that they never really pointed out. Like, I'm sure Rose was, and nothing against, Billy Piper or anything like that, but I'm sure Rose was very much like Jackie, where relationships were temporary. They were just, until something better comes along, I'm going to stick with you. And when the Doctor came along, all of a sudden, who's Mickey?
Yeah, I agree. It's stuff that needs to be. I think that it was a bizarre, like how that happened, and he wasn't very nice to Mickey either, really. The Doctor.
Oh, I know, Ricky.
Ricky.
Well,
it was
and
funny though, in a way.
I don't think the Ninth Doctor saw Mickey as like a romantic threat, because I don't see the Ninth Doctor having feelings for Rose. He didn't seem to have feelings for her. No. And he just kind of saw Mickey as just the tag along. Now, when you got to the 10th Doctor, now how the romance happened, I have no clue, because unless there may have been some sort of romantic feeling from the Ninth Doctor, but because he knew that he could not be with her forever, or whatever, he sort of protected himself, kind of put up a wall and wouldn't show any kind of emotion. And then you had 10, who was all emotion.
Yeah.
And so he was able to express his feelings that maybe, like I said, he had even when he was the Ninth Doctor.
Yeah, it was interesting, but I felt like Rose had quite a lot of story behind her to understand how that happened a little bit. Like she was like one of the companions had probably one of the longest times as a companion. Like Amy Rory had quite a long time too. Martha wasn't really that long. But yeah, I like it when they focus around that one companion.
But here's my next thing that I'm curious of. Had Rose been there when 10 became 11, would she have still had feelings for him? Because she also took me as rather superficial.
Yeah.
I mean, she was a 19-year-old girl. She was a teenager. She was in that realm of, I mean, when you're a teenager, very superficial. I don't care who you are. I was very superficial as a teenager. So it kind of makes you wonder, had she been around when 10 became 11, would she have still had romantic feelings, or would have been like, she didn't like him for some reason. There was something about him she didn't like, and so it was a complete turnoff, and she went home.
I think I think there was a good chance with 11. Although they're very different, Matt, like Matt's doctor and David's doctor, but they don't both have that sarcasm in them, and I think it would have been kind of not as bad as like a Clara moment, because for Clara it was pretty bad. It almost turned into like a young man into like your dad. in a but yeah, I kind of think that the connection just still wouldn't been there. It would have taken time, because
But would it have been as strong?
I don't think it would have been as strong, because like having so long with the 10th Doctor, and having all that loss and everything like with him too, and I would have liked to see that. I would have liked that to happen. Like it would have been nice. I know in the 50th they put her as Bad Wolf, but it would have been nice if she was Rose from the future or something like that, where actually was there speaking to Matt and Matt's doctor, and I would like to see that at some point, because it would be interesting, like what they're like.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, I just, because again, like, so the doctor, tall, handsome, whatever, new toy syndrome is another thing that comes to mind, and I'm not saying that he was a toy, but like when we meet someone new and we have our other friends, we will tend to gravitate towards, because we don't know stuff about this person. You know what I mean? Like, this is interesting. So who's to say that at some point she wouldn't get tired of the doctor because something else came along?
Yeah.
Again, 19-year-old thought process, 19-year-old hormones, 19-year-old emotions. 19-year-olds are very all over the place. We were both 19 once, so we know.
Yeah. It's like that, and like I feel like within Doctor Who and the whole, I think they do. I think from that, I always say I have to people on there explain what like dyspepsia is, and I think from that it would be nice to have possibly actors on here, so have like ADHD for example, or on the show, have an autistic actor, like or playing a part that can actually travel with the Doctor, or even like with something within the universe of Doctor Who, because you can do anything with that.
Oh, exactly. And like I said, I still, I don't want to be the doctor. I want Russell to be like, hey, you could be a companion, because I would kill it as a companion. I don't mind taking second billing to the doctor. I don't want to be the doctor. That'd be too hard. But I would love to be a companion, because I would love to be the first actual American born companion.
Yeah.
Not someone born in the UK doing an American accent. I am actually from America, because there could be so many jokes there, so many comments, and I just think that to me that would be fun.
Yeah, I think it's right when like an actor is from a certain thing, or like an actor has ADHD, for example, or an actor has autism. I think they should be the ones that actually are on the show, not someone actually acting on their behalf.
Well, I think I will honestly tell you, if I had to guess, I would say David does have ADHD.
I think like we said before, how Doctor Who is accepting with like autism, ADHD, like and like we said about actors being people who actually have the like autism, ADHD should take on the role.
Right. Yeah. I mean, oh yeah. And then, like, I think David does really have ADHD. He certainly acts like it. But here's the thing, at the end of the day, this is how you look at it. And you have people that do talk about certain people with certain disabilities should be in certain roles, as opposed to able-bodied people. There we go. The only problem is, and I think it's a great idea, except for there are certain situations where that person is a liability. Because if they get hurt on set, or something like that, then it's then a liability. So I kind of understand, why it's kind of a catch-22. Like, for example, there was a TV show, I think, or a movie or something, with it had a paraplegic person on it, but it was played by an able-bodied person, and they were getting a bunch of heat for that, and they tried to explain, even if we have a medical staff, this person is in a situation where they can only, be on set for X amount of time, they are a liability because if they fall out of the chair, stuff like that. So I think when it comes to mental illnesses, depending on the mental illness, yes. It also depends on the level the level of autism, because there are, different levels of it,
Of course.
or spectrums, whatever you want to call it. I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many out there, but
There's a word.
Yeah. I agree. Like, I suppose it depends what the person can do and stuff like that. But I think it even, like, if they can and they are able to do it, like, because for most people it is hard to get jobs. So it would be nice that like to have, I suppose, in Doctor Who, for example, like more, maybe not actors, but just maybe a storyline about it, about a certain thing, or like
the crew too. There's actually a bakery not to about 25 minutes from my house called Special Needs, but it's spelled KNEADS because it's a bakery. And all of their employees either have autism or Down syndrome or whatever. And what they do is they find what that person is really good at, and that's what they do. And so they get a job, they get to do something they enjoy, and people love it. By the way, their cupcakes are amazing, and they have this thing called puff corn. Oh, it's so good. So good. Puff corn. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's like it's this, and I don't normally like white chocolate, but it's this salted, like, okay, so you guys probably don't have this cereal called Corn Pops.
Not Corn Pops, no, I haven't heard of that.
Well, it's like how do I explain it? Cereal what? I can't even figure out how to explain it. But if I ever get some, I just don't know how well it would travel. But if I ever get some and I visit the UK, I will bring you some.
Yeah, like, because the only thing similar to that would be Cocoa Pops we have in the UK.
Okay, it's like Cocoa Puffs, but it's more of like a vanilla flavor. It's made out of corn. They salt it and they cover it in white chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't had Cocoa Pops in ages. But yeah, like, yeah, if you ever come to the UK, you have to bring some.
I will bring some.
Yeah.
I gotta figure out what I'm allowed to bring. That's the other thing, because I heard you guys aren't allowed to have like Mountain Dew Code Red.
Yeah, like, like, maybe come for the 60th, maybe, Ryan.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. We can maybe do fish fingers and custard together, maybe.
We could, and we could record it, and they could watch us go, oh, this is awesome. But
so fish fingers and custard, Ryan, I look forward to when we do it together then in the UK.
Yeah. And then I want authentic toad in the hole.
Yeah, toad in the
I
hole.
want the real toad. Yeah, I want toad in the hole.
Yeah.
Because we're just like, we're gonna talk about food now.
Yeah, toad in the hole is nice. I do like toad in the hole.
Well, I usually make it, but I want to have like the real, like, I didn't have to make it stuff.
Yeah, so you just someone else does it.
Yeah, and candy, because I like candy. I like sour candy. And you guys do sour candy so good.
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah. The sherbet fountain, favorite candy, except for the little black licorice.
Oh,
I
yes.
don't like that thing.
God, I love the chocolate fountain.
I throw the little licorice stick out and just eat it with my fingers. I eat the powder with my fingers. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, the chocolate fountain is it's great. Like, so many sweetie stuff in the UK, but like, it is like, you have to try lots of new things.
Oh yes, I just don't like licorice. So
You don't like licorice?
I do not like black licorice. That's my line.
I've got a bag downstairs of them.
Oh, and I decided, okay, so we have I tried haggis. I had haggis. I've decided how to explain to people what it tastes like. I don't know if you guys have this, but we have something called spam over here.
Spam.
Spam, spamity spam spam. Yes, baked
Oh.
beans and spam. No, so to me, haggis tastes like spam, and I don't like spam. So it's just grittier than spam. So if you have like a texture thing, I definitely don't recommend haggis because it's very it's spam flavored tiny ground up rocks is the best way I can explain haggis.
Okay.
So yes, so I'm saving you the trouble because it's very like if you don't like cream of wheat or oatmeal or porridgey textures, you won't like haggis.
I've never had it, I don't think.
Well, I just saved you from it. I had it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take your word for it then.
Yeah, don't. Well, and when you first eat it, it's not so bad. It's the aftertaste that just is not pleasant, and you can't get that taste out of your mouth.
No, I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't like that. No.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no. But so we have a new Doctor coming up in next year. When do you think they're going to release the 60th? Do you think it will be later this year or the beginning of next year?
What I think is going to happen is I think that we're going to get like the Doctor, like the Donna and Doctor episodes that they're filming at the moment. I feel like one of them is going to air at Christmas, because the Jodie's were regenerating at October, so it would make sense for there to be a Christmas or New Year's episode. I don't know what Russell's going to do. It's either going to be Christmas or New Year. But then I think the celebrations of Doctor Who are be lasting throughout up to November time, and then we find out. I think it's going to be a race to find the 14th Doctor. I think because I think that Jodie's going to regenerate back into David. This is what I think. I think that's going to happen, and then because I think that will happen. And because it's all about the watch, I feel like the watch is going to play a massive part because Jodie's lost her memories. She will start to remember them because David was the last person to use the watch. And I feel like that's going to make her regenerate. She has the face pictured of David, who could be whoever knows. It might be the 10th Doctor, it might just be possibly the 14th Doctor, because I don't think they've actually announced that Ncuti is the 14th Doctor. I think they've just said he is the new Doctor Who.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But I would like for Yaz to be the reason that she regenerates. Like I would love for it to be like Yaz was working against her the whole time. You know what I mean?
That would be good. That would, yeah.
Because he's, the Doctor has left companions have left the Doctor, yada yada yada. But what if a companion betrayed the Doctor?
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I think it would be an amazing twist.
Yeah, because I don't feel them like in our last episode. You see all these people on the trailer. You see the Master, Simon, Darts. I don't think any of them are the main villains. I think it's someone else. So
I think it should be Yaz. I think it should be Yaz. I think that would be the just twist. That would be, to me, that would just be fantastic. That would be amazing. Like I would be on board because again, it's, even though it would upset people, you couldn't deny that wasn't an amazing twist. That was just out of, and that's what they got like about Doctor Who too. Is sometimes they'll throw that like curveball at you. Yeah. And you're like, what? And you didn't expect that. And it's just amazing. I still don't want to have to buy a new suit. Sorry.
Yeah. And like with Yaz, in the trailer, you've got a shout on Yaz. So is she shouting at Yaz or for Yaz?
Yeah. I'm like I said, I think that would be great, but I don't think Yaz should carry on to the next Doctor, and it's nothing against Yaz and it's nothing against the actress. I just don't think the dynamic will be there once 13 regenerates.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, who are you and kind of stuff. And
yeah,
I much prefer when they start new companions, new everything.
Let's get the whole new thing.
Yeah.
And let's hope that Russell, if you hear this, Please do something about the timeless child. I'm begging you. Make it be a fever dream. I don't care. let's just write that off. Just scribble it right out, erase it, pretend it never happened.
It could be a big dream, couldn't it? But like the timeless
It
child
could.
was like a dream and never happened.
It could, or it could have been a lie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A trick the
So
master was saying, because the master's the only reason really it's from him. But
exactly. And the master being honest.
never.
The only honest thing about the master is his hatred of the doctor. That's the only honest thing about the master.
Yeah.
Everything else is a show.
Yeah. Like with the current master, where do you think he fits in? Because of course with Missy, she did get killed. Like, where do you think this master fits into like the master timeline?
I don't know.
I think the master, he is in between, just after John Sims, the master.
Yeah, I love John Sim and I love Missy, and those are my two favorites. So yeah, that's good stuff right there. I like that. But yeah, I love John Sim. I think he's an amazing actor. And I love Michelle Gomez. So a little shout out to Michelle Gomez. If you guys watch Doom Patrol, she is in she's a big part of the 3rd season of Doom Patrol, and Ty Tennant is in an episode or 2 of Doom Patrol.
Wow.
So and they talk to each other, or they sort of talk to each other, like they're in the same episode together. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like all the master incarnations, and I love it when all other characters are on different shows as well.
Yeah, Doom Patrol is really good too. It's a little like not safe for work type material, but it's a really good show.
Yeah.
I mean, they have these creatures called werebutts.
Yeah.
And if you get bitten by one, you turn into a butt. I'm not kidding.
Oh no.
With eyes and a hat.
Yeah. No, that's pretty crazy. That is.
Yeah, I'll have to send you a picture of one later, because it's so ridiculous, but it's funny.
Yeah, you have to. Is there do you have any theories about like what could happen in the last episode, like after with Jodie, or like any other ones?
Well, like I said, I just kind of hope it turns out to be Yaz that makes her regenerate. I think that would be interesting. Either Yaz gets possessed and causes it to happen, or Yaz was just working for the wrong side the whole time, working for the bad guys the whole time. I think that would be cool. What would have been neat is if the master wasn't really the master and Yaz was the master the whole time.
Yeah, like a body switch maybe.
Would that not be awesome? I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah. But I think that'd be really cool. Like,
I know.
They switched bodies the whole entire time. Like,
yeah,
they could at the start of the story, like they went for a drink or something. Like Yaz wanted to have a date or something with this guy, and the other guy turns up, and they switched bodies.
Yeah.
Like, because the master has that power, and then I think that would be awesome. I would be salute Chibnall for that. I would. So Yaz, like we said about it being a good finish for like a really good plot twist as well.
Oh yeah, to have Yaz either have swapped bodies with the master or just be evil on her own and cause the 13th Doctor to regenerate, that would be amazing, because people wouldn't see it coming. There are people that want that, and I think that that's great, because it's completely different having the betrayal from a companion.
Yeah, you don't really see that often, do you?
No, they're usually kissing the Doctor's butt. So
yeah. Well, I think that's a good way to like end it, because I think it's an awesome way to like finish her era off, and that makes sense. Like, I either think that's going to happen, or she will die herself. Yes, but
or well, there's part of it that would be maybe, how do I say this? Like where Yaz shows herself to be evil or whatever, and the Doctor does what the Doctor has to do, but just before Yaz dies, Yaz either stabs the Doctor or does something to her that causes her to regenerate. You know what I mean? Like kind of like, well, if I'm going to die, I'm taking you with me type thing.
that would make sense, because it's almost like when we've seen the Master and Yaz, they almost kind of get along, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Like in the episodes that they've been in together.
Mm-hmm. So it would make sense, and I just think it would be kind of cool, you know.
Yeah.
Double. It's kind of like a double agent, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, that'd be really interesting. Before we finish, Ryan, is there like a quote you relate to?
Yeah, because actually I have it on my backpack, that my Doctor Who backpack. It fits me. If you know me, it fits me, and it's do what I do. Hold tight and pretend it's a plan.
Pretend it's a plan.
Pretend it's a plan. That's so very much me.
Yeah, that's a good quote.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been great speaking to you again, Ryan. Like, speaking about Doctor Who, autism, ADHD again, and yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it.
Oh, I have. Thank you again for allowing me to do this. This was great.
Yeah, it was really fun, and yeah, fingers crossed our theories come true about Yaz.
Oh, that'd be amazing. But
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
but
awesome.
thank you, and we'll definitely do this again.
Okay, cool. I look forward to it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.